Alright, I'm gonna go over a quick miniature I just played in Rapid. And I start with the ready opening, which is knight to f3. And then I decide to push my pawns. He is attacking this undefended pawn, so I just hop my knight out. I like to get my knights out and these pawns out, so pretty good opening for white so far. But black hasn't made any obvious mistakes, and now he's immediately pinning this knight so he can win this pawn potentially. So I defend this pawn so that if he takes my knight, no big deal. I still defend my center. But now he's attacking it twice. So what do? Do I push? Do I castle? Do I pin him? I go for the queen development. Just stubbornly defending this twice. So now if you take here and then you take here, just to show, obviously it doesn't work anymore because the queen is there to collect. Okay, so he pushes out here, and now again, every single one of his pieces is attacking this point because this is undermining the defense of it. So at this point, I start to calculate, well, what if I just take? Because the queen is nice here. It's pinning the pawn, so he has to take back with a piece. And my biggest liability was this pawn on e4. And now that he is really attacking this piece, I can just develop my bishop here, break this pin, and say this knight isn't doing anything important. I no longer have to worry about defending this. Also, the queen is looking at this knight, and he doesn't want to trade that bishop anyways. So far so good. This is nice and safe. So he takes here, and now I can take with the bishop or with the pawn. My pawn structure is ruined either way if I take with the bishop, but I'm never going to do that. I'm taking with the pawn immediately because this is an attack. He loses the tempo. He has to move this piece, and then I have time to castle. So he goes back, and I could castle and play a normal game and use this open file and launch an attack over here. But he hasn't committed castling yet, and neither have I, and I decide I like my position. I could hop in and try to attack him, but I decide I'm going to push and play against this bishop. I'm going to use these open files by creating a semi-open file here, and if I get my pawn to here, eventually maybe, if he takes and I castle, this rook can be pressuring this bishop and he won't have a good home. So that's the plan, but he stops that immediately. But this is kind of a concession because now maybe I have this more access to this square for a check or something. But for now, I decide to stay aggressive and try my luck on the other side of the board. And the reason for this is I don't want to get into a long, drawn-out game against this guy. If I castle, then my rook is no longer attacking. I think based upon this move, he's planning on going kingside, which means I'd like to get an attack going potentially, and I don't see any vulnerability to my position. I like my bishop pair in that direction, so why not get the rook going? And I feel safe enough on the queen side. Plus, I might just not castle at all. So he castles, and I hop the knight in. I could just keep pushing, but the problem with that is his bishop can come out. Maybe he just blocks it. I decide I'm gonna hop the knight in. And the reason why is because the knight is now attacking this undefended pawn. And if he takes, I have a bishop pair. And I also activate this rook, showing the purpose of this move. And the knight also, I am dropping this pawn here, but that would give me an open file as well. And then I can castle queenside. So this is a pretty good move. To be aggressive. He is, oh, sorry. That was not what I played. So he attacks the knight. The knight could hop in there because it's defended by the bishop, but I decide to play the gangster queen to h5. Okay, and the reason I play that is because if he takes here, there's a checkmate. So it's basically saying you cannot take my knight for nothing. Furthermore, when I take back with the pawn, if he takes with the bishop, which is what he does, now my rook is really active. This queen and rook are very strong on the king right here. Even though I'm down, well, I'm not even down a piece because he didn't even take with the pawn because he doesn't want to activate these pieces. It's saying also I have ideas like bishop h7 check, which would force the king here, and then there's action on f7 if maybe then the queen can support it. That was my line of thinking. Is the reason I'm putting my queen here is, yeah, you can't take here, but indirectly I'm threatening a bishop check and then a knight fork, forking the king and queen, and then the queen recaptures. So that was the purpose of the queen in. Best move for the computer defense is to just calmly develop your knight and move it towards to attack the queen, defend the king. But that takes 2 turns. And he's looking at this and calculating, can I take? So he takes with the bishop, hoping to maybe get his queen involved sooner. But it doesn't work because I take back and have this going on. So now he plays a queen move and he's pinning the pawn. So at this point in the game, it's like, I really want to turn off the engine. Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, so you don't see what, so you see what I saw during the game. And I also wish I could hide this from you. Yeah, okay. So at this point, he's pinning the pawn to the queen. So if I play the move I want to play, which is my threat is taking this pawn, he just trades queens. And because I've, I mean, at that point, it's a knight versus a bishop. Kind of defensible by him. So instead, I just decide I'm going to attack this queen. And now the queen, actually, what I calculated is it has no way to maintain this pin. So my next move can be capturing. However, he takes here. And the combination of the bishop and the queen means he can take this rook with check and exchange queens that way. And I'm trying to avoid an exchange of queens. But first things first, I castle. I castle queenside. I say, I don't care that you killed my pawn, because now you've opened up a line of attack. My rook defends this rook. My queen defends this rook. So this is a very strong position for white. Thank you, babe. But then he plays this move, and suddenly my queen's under attack and my rook's under attack. And gotta save my queen, and I want to maintain protection on this. And I really actually have one square here anyways. So I go to queen h4, but now he has time to kill my rook. At this point, if white takes back, I can go on to win the game, but I'm realizing in this position I don't actually, I have bigger priorities than this bishop, because this bishop here doesn't actually have any strong moves. So now I can do my plan of attack. So I take, because taking this I think is stronger than moving my rook out of the attack, because now I'm threatening queening or taking and then checkmating. So this is removing the wall in front of his king, right? So go ahead and save your bishop. So he does. And now is the moment of the game where I have 7 minutes, and I have 7 minutes to calculate, do I have a forced win here? And I'm I'm proud of this game because like there's only one good move and I found it. And I promise you will not be able to easily spot it unless you're 2000 rated, basically. Um, I calculated, I have a lot of different candidate moves. Obviously, you can first calculate the pawn, takes this pawn, because it comes with a threat of taking this rook with a check. So queening and taking a rook with check sounds all very good. However, what does my opponent have? Well, my opponent is still maintaining this battery saying, I'm going to take your rook with check, forcing the queens off, and then my little attack does nothing to the king. I do have a mate here after the capture here if this were not a check. If my king, hypothetically, let's say my king was over here. This is like what Hikaru does. We'll just pretend the king's over here. If in this position I can take, and if he takes the rook, I take with check, and when he takes, I thought this was a mate, but now I see that he actually has that. And then maybe we play on. So never mind. I thought I had a mate there, but okay, so that doesn't work. If I push the pawn to here, I check him. He only has one move to here, but now my queen and rook are blocked, and the bishop doesn't have vision here yet, and there's no easy way to continue the attack, and black is actually better here because he was able to win a rook and save his bishop. He's up a full rook here. So if I don't checkmate him, I'm in big trouble. So that doesn't work. This move doesn't work because this comes with a check. So my queen's hanging, so this would be the resulting position where yes, I get a queen and kill his rook, but he still has another rook and two pieces, and I only have two pieces, and so I'm going to lose that game. So that means both pawn moves are losses for white. Even though I have this massive attack. Well, the queen is adequately placed, the rook is adequately placed. However, the number one candidate move I thought of here is rook attacks the queen, because then I'm just avoiding the problem of getting checked with losing a rook and a queen. I'm avoiding that completely. He no longer has this check, but he does have this check. And from here I can hide, but I didn't like that I'm getting checked because maybe here what can black do? Maybe maybe black can offer a queen trade, or maybe yeah, that's not a bad move because you're attacking with check. And then do I have some of the same issues? So this is an okay move, but I figured there was something better. So anyway, without further ado, the move I had to calculate was what if, because the whole problem of this is he's checking me and I'm not checking him, but what if I deliver a check right now with my bishop? This move, I have to calculate two responses. Either he sidesteps it or he kills the bishop. If he kills the bishop, now I can take this and it comes with a discovered check. So I'm attacking the rook, threatening the queen, and I have a discovered check. So at this point, you know, if you go back here, you get mated. And if you take the pawn, I figure this is a good move. Forces the king here, and then there's a checkmate. So you can't take the bishop. That basically rules out taking the bishop, because this move is so strong that there's absolutely nothing. I mean, I could promote to a knight here, or just check again. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of good moves here. I'd probably play that, and then just have a queen. Maybe, you know, check and win the bishop. It's actually kind of interesting. I wonder if this is a good move. But anyway, so you can't you can't take the bishop, is my point. So his only other option would be to hide. So I've successfully delivered this check. I've calculated, well, he has to go here. And now the point of that is that this comes with a check. If he takes here, same thing. So either way, this move is either a check from the pawn or from the queen. So because this is the move I want to play, but it's not strong enough, because if I play it now, he checks me, this beautiful bishop move makes it so I think in the game he went here. So I checked, and then he decided to take with the king. The correct move is with the queen. If you take with the king, which is what happened in the game, there is this very powerful check which prevents the king's escape, and he has to go here, and then from here, I actually can take this rook with checkmate, which I didn't see because in the game I played this, and when he moves, I have either this mate or this mate. This is what I played. But what I had to calculate, see what's interesting is the best move is queen takes, and now it's like, okay, well, he's up a rook, and what am I doing exactly? And the only good move is a discovered check that wins the bishop, which is what I had to calculate. And I'm not winning the rook because the bishop would take me. I'm winning the bishop for free, and that's the plan. Because here the queen can't block, so the king would have to move, and then I would take the bishop, and I have saved my bishop, eliminated his. So yes, he is up. He's up a rook to a bishop, but this bishop is attacking his rook, and he can't save it because hypothetically, if he moves it out of the way, I have this move, which attacks the queen, and then I'm gonna get the exchange back. But the bigger issue is I always have queen h2, which maintains these checkmates that the queen has to guard against, but also introduces rook g1, pinning the queen to the king. So the combination of the bishop and the queen and the rook, this bishop making him waste time, means he's in trouble. If he moves the knight, I could just take here, or do the same type of threats. But basically, white is just winning. So yeah, let's show that. So what's interesting is, yeah, +7 compared to +2 or +1. For the rook move is +1. This is +7. Finding a check that looks like it gives up a piece for no real reason. Mate in 4 if he takes it. But see, this is mate in 3 if he takes that. But so he's supposed to take here, and then I have there are many checks I have, but eventually you want to come back and win this bishop. And then from here, computer says best move is knight d7 or rook e8. If he plays the knight, like I said, bishop h6. And then if the queen ever gets off of this file, it's good night. And if the queen stays on this, queen h2 is super powerful. I'm also attacking this pawn, threatening that. I also feel like both rooks are hanging, and taking either one wins the game, right? There's a checkmate there. Wow. Yeah, that introduces a checkmate threat. So how is that not the best move? King takes. Yeah, so I can just win this for free because he can't take back. He can't save his rook because of a checkmate. So yeah, really kind of a wild game. And I'm in a cold streak right now, but I'm happy that I was able to find the only winning move. When I get into a cool position where I'm sacking a knight, and I know I have something, and my king is super safe, but I'm down material, and at this point, because of his move, he's winning a rook and threatening to trade queens and win another rook. So this is my only chance, and you have to calculate that. It's so interesting that this move does nothing. King moves, and now I'm just getting destroyed. I'm just down a rook. There's actually no attack. And similarly here, just to show you the analysis. Like I said before, black would just be up a rook. And that's the end. Thank you.